Right, and off we go. Doing our usual, waiting for Zoom to say it's connected.
Still haven't figured out how to do that. I gotta try and figure that out. I'm gonna start going on live. My friends keep
All
telling me.
right, perfect. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty easy once you get rolling. Okay. So, hello everyone. Amalia and Natalio with Karmic Kindness, along with Madelaine Parker.
You know?
And we are here to talk about the second full moon in Capricorn, which would be considered a blue moon because it's basically within a month-long period. We've got two moons in the same sign. The moon on June 21st, I believe, was at 1 degree, and now we're at 29 degrees. So we're basically, I look at this as like bookends of energy. And maybe a second chance or a second shot at some completions of some kind for you. And when we have that Cancer full moon in the middle, I find that at least what's come up for me and the clients and people in my world is that there's been an emphasis that relates to our inner emotional world, our families, whether they are our family members that are currently physically with us or not. And there's information that's come through for a lot of folks that has really changed their perspective or their focus in their life in some way. And that's going to be different for everyone. But what I love about the fact that we have this second chance here with this Capricorn full moon is because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is very much about long-term foundational structure. So if we can anchor in the lessons or the insights or the new fresh perspective in some form or fashion for ourselves, this could really have, I feel like, a really positive impact for us going forward. And there's a lot of activity with the moon, a lot of aspects to this moon, which Madelaine, I'm sure, will be going into as she goes through each one of the signs. But, what question that came to my mind is, what are you focused on, or what are you doing to move you towards success in whatever way that looks or feels to you? Because there is an opportunity for radical change with Pluto and Uranus aspecting the moon. At least that's the way I interpret this energy. And we've got Pluto in retrograde and Neptune is in retrograde, and both of these planets aspect this full moon. And there's an opportunity for transformation, for that new insight, that new perspective, a new way of being, a new source of power within yourselves that maybe isn't actually new. It could be something that you've had before, but maybe lost touch with, and coming back into connection with it. So we've got, obviously the sun and the moon are opposing each other, as they do in every full moon. But then we also have the moon trine Mars, which brings an energy of openness and potential compromise. The moon is also trine Uranus, which can create a desire for emotional independence or freedom. There might be some emotional surprises. So something that happens in your life where you get really, you feel really sad, or you feel really happy, or maybe really angry. Something comes up that you're not expecting. The moon is also sextile to Neptune. So that might really, and Neptune's in retrograde, so that might push people to search for a spiritual angle, maybe something that they learned earlier in life that they're revisiting again. There might also be the potential for sensitivity, emotional sensitivity, or sensitivity to energy, or your dream world might be enhanced. And then we have a conjunction. The moon is conjunct Pluto in retrograde. Again, that's a potential for maybe an emotional outburst that could lead to a breakthrough or a transformation. And there might be the inclination to hide some feelings, to like hold them to yourself for a time. And maybe that's a positive thing in terms of getting clear on how you're feeling before you take some sort of action moving forward. And because it's a full moon, it's also some completion energy. So there might be some completions that occur in people's lives within their relationships, within their, maybe their careers. There could be completions in terms of karmic familial issues that you can finally tie a bow on and move beyond. So that's kind of the basic overview of what I see in the stars and with the planets and how they're playing with each other. I have a Capricorn full moon card that I'll share a little bit later, but I would love to give Madelaine an opportunity now to share all about what she sees and the energy that we have to look forward to this coming moon cycle. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is that this takes place on July 21st at 6:17 a.m. Eastern. And so Madelaine, now
4:30. So 4:37 a.m. Western. Yes. All right. You ready? Thanks for all that info. That's perfect backdrop to what I'm going to talk about. So I don't have to mention all that. No, I'm kidding. But that's all very much the story, part of the story. So I will add to that. So one of the most important things to look at right now is the anaretic degrees. We've got the sun at an anaretic degree. We have Neptune at an anaretic degree. We have the moon, and I'll explain anaretic degrees here in a minute. We have the moon at an anaretic degree. We have Pluto at an anaretic degree, and we have Mars at an anaretic degree. So what is that? 0 degrees and 29 degrees. 0 degrees are obviously fresh new beginnings, and 29 degrees are big endings, big wrap-ups, but also these tend to be crisis-oriented type energies. I have my ascendant is 0 degrees Cancer, and my sun is 29 degrees Sagittarius, so I know a lot about these anaretic degree points in people's charts and in general. So basically what happens with the anaretic degrees is, especially if it's in your chart, you're wrapping up a whole pattern in your soul's life's journeys, if you believe in reincarnation, or it can just be in this life, but you're really ending a pattern. You're ending, and I'll give you an example. I'll make me the example. I'm 0 degrees Cancer rising, which is the home. Cancer is home, family, stability, roots, all of that. Sagittarius is the wanderer, the traveler. And my past life, I was a traveler. I was a traveler in my earlier lives. I was a diplomat daughter. I never really had a home. I never really had anywhere stable. Guess what I'm here to do? I'm here to end the traveling 29 degrees and begin the new chapter of finding stability and actually sort of settling, which is really hard for me to do. Really hard. Like I find it very hard to settle. So basically, these are not easy degrees. These are the degrees that basically a culmination. It's like the culmination of the reason you can't do this anymore. There's a culmination of it. So with a 29 degree full moon in Capricorn, there's something you just can't do anymore. There's something you can't continue anymore. And sometimes it can be very, very rash, shall we say, spontaneous decisions that are impractical, but you just jump in and do them. A lot of these anaretic degree points at 29 degrees, people just do random things, just out of the blue, just jump out, because they can't see. They have to get out of something and they don't know how, and they don't know how to do it. Because if you're going from 29 to 0 degrees, you're ending something that you know that you're very familiar with, and you're jumping into something you completely have no knowing of where to go. Like for me, I know how to travel. I know how to do many. You can put me in any town in the world and I'll know how to get through, but put me in a town where I'm supposed to stabilize and stay, I have no idea. So basically you're jumping from this sort of extreme knowledge of something, this extreme sort of ending to this, it's like being born. It's like literally being reborn, and you're a baby and you're vulnerable and you don't know what to do. And so Pluto is at that degree point. Pluto, you're ending. Pluto being on this new moon is incredibly, shall we say, fated, obviously, because this is a very powerful karma wrapping up. So we're ending we're really honestly ending an era. I mean, this is the full moon that ends the entire past. You could almost say this is the end of the karma that is enabling us to shift into the age of Aquarius. So we're literally ending a big karmic cycle. Now, Karmic is basically just, shall we say, lower density fear-based choices that we make. And so we're really wrapping up that, because it's at the 29-degree point. So for instance, if I was to keep traveling right now, that would be karmic, because that would be like, although I can still travel, it's not like I can't travel, but if I was to seek traveling more and not address my 0-degree Cancer, I'd be continuing a karmic pattern of just sort of running around and not facing my inability to settle, as it were. So with the 29-degree point, you're wrapping up some sort of easy way of being, or not easy, but karmic, and karmic doesn't always mean bad. It's just a pattern.
It might be comfortable. It might feel very comfortable. So
yeah.
changing out of a pattern that's comfortable is not always easy.
Mm-hmm. And now guess what? We're facing Pluto, the fear. So there's some sort of fear of settling for me, or a fear of stepping into an unknown way of being. And now that we've cleared most of us, and like you were saying in your readings, we're seeing that people are really clearing up, wrapping up old karmic stuff. Now, guess what happens when you do that? The crisis that caused you to take a karmic choice appears. Because you're being, and people have a really hard time when I try to explain to them. They go, I've cleared my karma. I know you probably have. You probably really have. But the universe, that karma gets cleared not because you say you've cleared your karma. The karma gets cleared when you go through an issue or an experience and you act differently in it. You don't repeat the same response. So that karma kind of comes back up. So you have a choice in this full moon to either break that pattern, face a fear, Pluto, and step forward into this new cycle, and step forward into a new destiny, into a new era, into the new era. And that is where the planets are going to support you, to stop a comfortable pattern, and step into the uncharted path, the unknown way that your soul doesn't know, and step into faith, because Pluto is literally a transformative power that shifts you from fear to faith. Because if you have any planets in your 8th house, it tends to mean that you make that planet that represents your salvation and God, and it's in the 8th house. So you find God through that mistake, that non-way. And so we're going to learn through the mistake in this choice, so it can show up as a crisis. It can show up. That's why the anaretic degrees can be considered the most challenging degrees in astrology. But you then become cleared of a pattern. And, every life, if you believe in reincarnation, these are really ingrained survival patterns, really ingrained, that have to be sort of purged out of us so that we can step into a higher frequency, higher vibration, because we are growing. So we're going in higher frequency, is because we're shifting into the age of Aquarius, which is extremely high frequency, which does not, it is not fear-based. It is much more optimistic and believing. Like I just had a big conversation with someone. I've had caffeine, you can tell, because I had coffee with someone. I'm a little like fast when I have caffeine. They were feeling very unhopeful about everything. And I was saying, well, that's not the truth. The truth is astrology sees the hope. There's a lot of really positive things that we're opening up into this new golden era. And so there's a lot of abundance here. This is an abundant. Saturn, who rules this full moon, is in a very, very spiritually abundant part of the sky. So this new era is spiritual, because Aquarius deals with the unseen. It deals with the stars, the 5th dimension, the higher dimensions. So basically we're having so a lot of people are going to be in limbo land right now. And I know a lot of people that are, which means they're wrapping up this old way of being, and they don't know what else is. They've cleared all their karma, because you can't operate in that same way anymore. So you're like, well, how do I do this? How do I step forward? Where do I go? What choice do I make? I mean, people are just literally going, I don't even know what to do, where to put my energy, how to direct myself in these energies, because we're literally ending an era.
So if I could, Madelaine, just interject
sure.
one thing on that, because this has come up a lot recently in my life as well, and in my clients, where you're exactly right in terms of old stuff coming back to the surface again. So it's like, yes, you've done this already, but now it's just like the last little vestige. And so what I've been kind of counseling myself and others to do is that when these things come up and you tend to go to your default response or reaction to whatever it is.
Yeah, or pattern, like, yeah.
Right. That's the prime opportunity to pause and to really sit and reflect on what you can do differently to create the outcome that you desire. And what I've noticed with myself is I will default to the thing, and then I'll realize it's not getting me anywhere. It's not changing anything. So now I'm given another opportunity to pause. And that's why I love having the second full moon, because it feels like, okay, we're going to be shown some more in order to complete. And then I feel like that's kind of the key, is that when we recognize that we're defaulting, to come back to the center of ourselves and feel into another choice, ask the universe to show us another choice, because when we're in limbo, we may not even know what options are available to us. But if we at least get curious, at least in my experience, another option or something always shows up, always.
Yes. And here's the thing that's going to happen, because Pluto is right there. So guess what's going to show up? The thing that caused you the fear to make you make those choices. So there's a fear coming up. There's your fear. There's this, and Pluto's going to reveal some secrets, some deep, in the collective, it'll reveal secrets again, more that the Pluto is hiding like gold. Pluto's the riches, and like Pluto's the underworld underneath what we don't see, and that's where gold and the riches are. They're underneath. So there's the riches in discovering and uprooting a fear, and finding the source of the fear that is causing you. So this full moon will show you the fear that puts you in that pattern choice, the fear that, and so it could be triggering, very triggering. But like, we've got some really positive aspects around this full moon as well. But, there's a good chance it's hitting right on my Venus. So there's a good chance that, some of the issues that caused me to make some of those karmic choices in relationships shows up. But with the Pluto there, we're going to hopefully, if you're evolved, you're learning astrology and you're understanding what's going on, the deeper fear is being revealed and also purged. So now we've got that whole layer, and this is your karmic. This is the big one. This is the big karmic lesson we have. So we all have like one major karmic thing to clear in this life. Wherever Capricorn falls in your chart is where you really have a predominant repeat patterning, and also 29 degree. Any kind of planets up at that degree point are the most powerful trigger points in your chart. That point is going to be the one that has the most, that you see a powerful impact in your life. And so, because you're really here to clear something around that 29 degree point. So, we're deeping and we're clearing and purging deep fears that cause us to make these repeat patterns. And again, similar message from that last full moon. It's sort of like, the last cycle of karma clearing for a good while here. With Pluto there, this is going to be deep. It's going to be deep down stuff. And guess what happens? Rebirth, transformation. Pluto's all about transformation. Rebirth, transformation here. So this is a transformational full moon where we clear an entire area of karma in our soul, in our being, and we shift to a spirituality around it, where we, because of Neptune there, where we now have clarity, because Neptune's in retrograde. When Neptune's in retrograde, we have clarity. When Neptune's direct, we're foggy brained, or we're not sure, we don't have clarity. Now, and Saturn being in retrograde means we clear much more karma. When Saturn's in retrograde, we go in deeper. Saturn has much more of an impact. So we go even deeper in on this. And then with Pluto in retrograde, hello, are you kidding me? So this is all like stuff from our past, karmic healing. And then I would say major transformative awakenings. Now, we just had that Uranus and Mars conjunction. Many people, as well as myself, predicted that Trump would be in danger, which is exactly what happened. But the main point, and as you say, we'll talk about that, because this trines Mars, which was on that Uranian thing, which yes, can play out in the way that it did with Trump, but also it's playing out in a way in our own personal lives where we break through with action, limiting situations that are karma, or shall we say cul-de-sacs or dead ends that our karma takes us to. We now bust a way through with that Mars and Uranus. It's motivating you to create a opening and break through something that is stagnating us and is based on a comfortable choice, repeat choice pattern, as it were. So now we're like breaking through whatever wall we created or density or stuckness, stagnancy in our lives through this. So it's literally like karma clears, opens up a fear we have to no longer operate in this cycle. Mars being there at that anaretic degree, 0 points in Gemini, gives us the impetus, the motivation to strategize, to plan. Jupiter's in Gemini, strategic. Clarity comes in, how to initiate this new path, to step into the new beginning, which with now we have a spiritual understanding of spiritual support. We've had a spiritual transformation. And what that really means is that we no longer seek the material choice in this situation. We seek shall we say, a more up-guided choice. We're looking for a spiritual clarity around making this choice. And it's more based in faith. Neptune at that 29th degree in retrograde, helping us see more clearer what is our soul destiny or desire. We have a beautiful trine and kite there, kind of a kite, the top part of the kite, as it were, which is very protective, protects us. It's a roof. A lot of really powerful blessings in this full moon because of that Saturn being in a really auspicious place. So it's almost like the more spiritual we're going to be, and this is going to be a repeat message for the next 5 years, really, because we're ending Kali Yuga, we're going into the next era, and the next era is spiritual because it's based on Uranus, astrology, spirituality, the true spirituality, which indicates a higher awareness of a cosmic order or understanding, rather than just egotistically, ego-y, mindly walking our lives. So now we're getting on this full moon transformation, because every time you have a planet in the 8th house, and anyone can look in their birth chart, see if you have a planet in your 8th house, that planet is where you don't believe in God. That planet is where you're self-willing it and you're finding solutions through your own ego and self-will rather than the cosmic order, rather than a cosmic understanding and aligning with a cosmic truth. And so this is the transformation of that fear to see we find God, we find a God. Now finding God within you, or finding your version of God, but it's personal and it's in how you connect. And so somewhere where we've had karmic decisions, we now lean on to God for, because that door is going to be slammed. Or we create an instant karma. That's the other thing is if you're going to create karma right now, it's instant. You're going to get the backlash right away. It's instant karma because, like, for instance, if you're going, let's say you want to earn a job, an example, you decide to go back to earn money away. You didn't really like it, but it was steady and you got the benefits and you go back. That would be a karmic choice. It wasn't something you really wanted, but you choose it because it's comfortable or stable. And then instantly something really negative happens in that situation. It would be instant. It would be like all of a sudden there's terrible thing happens. The person is really mean and horrible and fires you right away. And it's traumatic. Like when you go against your karmic path, when you've cleared karma, you go back and it's like you get instant karma, instant negative results. You could call it that way. If people don't believe in karma, it's fine. But you get an instant reflection of that fear-based choice. That's super, super sensitive right now. So the universe is with that Uranus transit and the Mars there, the universe is supporting choices that go against the old way, that go against the old established structures. You're going to see old corrupt structures coming down because the universe just isn't supporting that. It's supporting the new birth of the power with the people. And those institutions that are supporting freedom to the people, supporting of the people, they do very, very well. If you're looking to invest in financial institutions, Pluto is about investment and investments and stocks and all that kind of stuff. So if you invest in kind of investment opportunities that are more people-based rather than old government structured support, then you're going to do better. and it goes against our logic because this is all a new era. It's all going to go against our knowing, our what we've been taught. And basically, Uranus is supporting the things that are pro humanity, humanitarianism, stabilizing the human abundance for humanity is going to be supported. And so anything you invest in towards the people, that these are economic opportunities for investments that are supportive of the growth and the power to the people, you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to do great. Those structures are very strong. But the other ones that are more based in corruptions that are old, you'll start seeing crumbling away. So, I mean, you know, this is a challenging thing because we're stepping into a completely new uncharted path in history. Even it's a whole new thing. Even our history doesn't even go back. We don't even remember. I mean, you know, the last Aquarian era, I don't know how many millions of years, I don't know the year number that it goes back to, but everything about this era is completely new. The technologies, the way you're going to be seeing, even the way you're going to see Amazon deliver packages are going to be done by drones. You're going to start seeing things flying in the air. Aquarius is the air. So we're really looking at opening up our minds, and there's so many new ways of doing things because we're no longer operating under the oppression of the old world. We're stepping into a new earth, which is no more oppression. And so to wrap up that message really would be to say that for us individually, in order to align with this new direction in our era, we're ending an era here. We're ending a total Saturnian oppressive era into a new Saturn, because Aquarius is Saturn, but a Saturn for the people, by the people, basically. And anybody who motivates from that perspective is going to have support, universal support. So in order to do that, though, you have to get rid of your karma. You have to get rid of your fear-based patterns so that you can step into this new 0 degree stuff, Mars and Pluto trining each other. We have courage. You're going to have courage to face these lower density issues that have held us back. And we're going to be motivated. That Uranus Mars motivates everybody. I know for me, it tried my Venus in my 8th house, and I felt definitely motivated and driven, and I broke through some barriers in my own little journey with social media, which has been my sort of, I want to say karmic, but there is a level of karma in that. I went and did a whole bunch of sound healing around my social media. It was amazing. Really helped me understand. We put Mars and Uranus together, the two bowls, and stuck them on my body. Like, so it was so liberating. It was like this feeling of like, woo, you know. So we're liberating from these awful patterns. Again, there may be a crisis coming up. When I say awful patterns, just things that we just don't want anymore. You don't really want this cycle anymore. So we're breaking out of it. We're entering a whole new chapter where we're discovering the power of life without this weight that we've carried. And so it's exploratory. It's Jupiter. Jupiter rules Saturn right now, which is about exploring, about learning, about investigating new things, because this whole era is almost like we've taken out all the bushes from a garden and we have clear dirt now. And that's dirt. Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. So we're going to plant new things. We've got a whole new ideas and new things to start here that are not based on the old paradigm. So it's like you say, it's limbo land for a lot of us. We're all like thrown into this sort of space of 0 degrees, which is 0 point. And we're like, okay, universe, show us the way here. And I think this full moon is going to clarify a lot of that limbo land place that people feel they're in, and get us really clearly started on this new path, this new paradigm that we're here to lead the world into, because everyone that's alive right now is here to bring us into the new earth. And it is spiritual. If you read about Kali Yuga, on the other side of that Kali Yuga, which they say is 2030, I don't know, many people say different things, but that is literally the official beginning of the new earth, in the sense that we've really shifted more predominantly into the new energies. And it's very, very optimistic, very abundant. So we just have to get through these humps with Jupiter faith You know, I was just talking to somebody who didn't have faith through, it could be, you know, it's not easy these times. These are scary times financially and all that. But if we keep our eye on this astrology, will keep us in alignment, and helping us make choices that are in alignment with the cosmos, which is to be independent and to trust the divine, or our divine self, or our souls, or our higher guidance. Because 11 is the 11th house, which is astrology, which is a Uranus, right? And I probably showed this before, but you know, 11 is, oh, that's not a very dark pen. I use this, okay, we won't use that pen. So 11, here's 11, right? Which is the house of Uranus, which is everybody individually following their higher selves. So you're in alignment with the universe. It's in alignment, not two people doing this, not this.
So Madelaine, maybe stop sharing the screen if you want to do the board, because you're so tiny.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
So there's 11, right? So if we do that 11, so 11, and then 11 means everybody not following a religion or a politics or a church or a political entity or a figurehead or a human being. You're following your higher guidance, your higher self. So you have everybody aligned, everybody on the planet, everybody, boom, 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 boom. Everybody aligned with the divine or their God self, right? Instead of being aligned with another entity, a physical, material realm. So you're aligning with spirit, not with material, not with another person or another government or a church or a figurehead, you know. And we're not supposed to have you know, religions put you studying text and looking at a human being that's material. We're looking now for spiritual work, the non-material answers. So
that we all carry inside of us already. Yeah, it's just a matter of accessing them through different strategies, meditation, being in nature, journaling even. I mean, there's so many ways to access that information. And I think it's also just somewhat trial and error, where you receive some guidance or you feel a pull towards something and you take an action, and then it may work out amazingly well. And then you feel awesome, and it may flop. And then you go, oh, okay, I see. There was like maybe something I didn't fully understand, or maybe I needed to do that in order to experience this so that I could be empathetic when I share the story in, you know, at a later time, something like that. So you know, I feel like it's such a huge period of time of us beginning to really listen to our own inner voice and take action from there. And not that inner voice that's like mean and yelling at us. It's more that soft, quiet voice that is gently guiding because there's a difference.
Yeah. Well, the secret is astrology. And I hate to be like a zealot or like, but before we went into the Piscean era and we went into spirit and we went into the whole religious era, which was to throw yourself completely out of yourself, to totally put you to support some sort of external human thing, right? Well, before that, it said on the Temple of Apollo, which is in Giza. No, not Giza. Gosh, damn it, forget it. It's part of Delphi, Greece. Literally says, and that they have astrological signs and symbols everywhere, and they literally say, know thyself. Like that was the golden era. The golden era meant you understood the cosmic order, you understood what was happening cosmically, and you knew who you were because you knew your chart. You knew where the planets were when you were born, because that's who you are. So knowing who you are is the most important thing right now. And most importantly is to understand your astro chart, because that gives you a very clear understanding of that. So
all right. So before we jump into the signs, I want to just share the flower for this Capricorn full moon, Capricorn full moon, blue moon. And we have the Hong Kong orchid. And I love this in terms of what you just shared too, Madelaine, because this activates self-acceptance. So when you can see yourself and accept yourself as you are, that allows you to then express yourself in your own unique way, which is what we're all here to do. It also has a little bit of an energy of looking at what sort of standards you have for yourself. Are your expectations of yourself so high and that you don't give yourself a break? This feels very Capricornian to me, that you then you look down on yourself, you feel like you failed, or whatever the inner dialogue might be. This is saying, look, you are an amazing individual as you are. Accept who you are. Accept that you have these gifts and talents. Express them in the world and appreciate and love yourself as you are. That's the big time message for the Hong Kong orchid. And I love the softness of the colors, but yet the boldness of the colors as well, and this expansion out. And there's a lot happening here in the center too. It's like all these different facets of us, all these different parts of us that we sometimes don't express as vividly or as brightly, but they're there. They exist nonetheless. So I love the Hong Kong orchid as the epitome of this full moon energy.
Because it's almost saying, by being more yourself, you become a beacon of the light to work through. Because that flower, it's like it's being its true flower, and now the light of spirit can work through you,
Yeah.
That white is kind of like the divine spirit light coming through you. So
it's fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So
shall we start with Aries?
Let's go for it. So I'm going to do this, everybody, because it's not very loud, but I have so many people saying that they want me to timestamp. So here's Aries.
Aries. Do we want, people may not know what the Aries symbol is, though, Madelaine.
Oh, should I write Aries?
Maybe.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Right, Aries. Okay. I feel like this is not very loud, this pen, but Aries. Aries. Is it backwards?
Nope, it's the correct way.
Okay.
Nice.
Aries. All right, let's look at Aries. I'm going to use my darker pen next one.
All right, and hopefully that works for folks so they can just fast forward to the sign.
Yeah. I'm going to use my darker pen on the next ones. So let's go to Aries here. I suddenly got distracted. Somebody. All right, here we go. Aries. So Aries, gosh darn it, go back. Okay, Aries. So you guys have basically fourth house. I mean, Capricorn is your 10th house of career. And so obviously there's a theme and a storyline going through everyone's life, whatever chapter or whatever house Capricorn covers, which is an area of fear-based, I would say fear-based choices, or choices, like you say, convenient, comfort, security. I have to find my charger cable. I suddenly realized I'm not charging here. One sec. Weirdness thing.
Can you find it?
Oh, here it is. Gosh, like what on earth is going on with my cable here? There it is. All right. So basically there's a series of choices that Aries rising are making that are security-based, fear-based, or whatever on their career house. And so with a full moon there, it is almost like, again, there could be a job crisis, a firing, a losing of a situation. And again, if you are continuing to act out karmically for your career, you're going to find that it probably isn't working very well. And so then you do have to make a sudden brash decision, jump ship, suddenly make a new decision, or suddenly quit and retire, depending on where you are on your career path. You suddenly decide to end it. And then maybe you take some sort of spiritual leap of faith in another direction with your career or your money, or you take a spiritual leap of faith and believe that somehow you're going to be financially okay. And you are, because these energies are, if you take a more, see with Neptune, I would say clarity does come in with that Neptune in retrograde trining it, sextiling it. I would say you get clarity of a more auspicious path to go that is no longer comfortable, but it is a risk, it is daring, but it is ending a particular pattern of being in a job you don't like, or being in job situations that are not in alignment with your heart, your soul, the divine in you. So you're clearing a pattern. Pluto there in your 11th house, there's some sort of uncovery or discovery. Now, these are all in retrograde. So a lot of this is stuff that's already in your life, comes up, clarity around a tribe group, friends group, people that you know are the way through, collaborating with people. You may meet new, I would say you maybe come back into contact with people from your past that enable you to take this new auspicious beginning, because this Pluto is uncovering a wealthy way to go, a new, more wealthy way to go. And Mars rules your chart. So you're going through something big around this transit of the Uranus and Mars conjoining. You are going through a pattern of breaking through some sort of barrier dam, and with that, that Taurus is in your second house of financing. So it's almost like you break through, you find a new way of making money. It's the end of the old way that you've always made money, and it's going to be auspicious, because if you've got you're going to have Uranus Mars in your second house. So it's almost like some sort of breakthrough financially. And it could seem like a crisis financially, but then you're motivated to solve this problem and you end up on a much more auspicious path. So it's sort of like a dam breaking and opening your finances, which enables you to redirect your career to something that is much more, like we say, in alignment with your higher self. So yeah, that's Aries, I guess.
All right. So for Aries, we have the yarrow, and what's interesting is that, everything you were talking about, Madelaine, it's almost like there needs to be a clearing or a recharging of the batteries, or some energy around clarity of action. With Aries has a lot to do with initiation and action and taking some sort of initiatory step. So the yarrow comes in to say, okay, let's get you revitalized. Let's get you recharged. Let's clear out those energies that have not been supportive, or that have been having you kind of like running around in circles. Let's get you centered. And then now you can access your body's natural vitality, access that clarity of mind, and then be able to maybe close the loop on something, and then take that initiatory action that Aries loves to do so much. And I love the purity of the white and all of the little blossoms. It's like they have all these like potential opportunities out there that they can access.
Well, that really does spark in me the idea that a lot of Aries oversaw missed opportunities, like from the past, that they didn't think were secure enough. They didn't want to go that way. Like spiritual options. Let's say like a film director I know that's Aries rising. There were opportunities and ideas for spiritual projects, but you went more towards the projects that would sell and make you money and box office. So now you decide, oh my God, I denied those other opportunities. I'm going to go back and relook at some of those more spiritual opportunities and see that it's actually progressing society. And that is actually where you're going to get your more abundance right now.
Well, and I think that was what you were saying earlier too, is that, the projects that you're looking at that are really self-focused, what benefit is it for me, are the ones that are likely not aligned. That's an old paradigm. That's something that you're here being encouraged to move to the side. And now it's looking at, okay, what's beneficial for all? How can I honor myself and the gifts and talents I have, while also supporting and guiding, or creating a product or something for someone that's going to be very supportive for them, for the people, like you were saying, for the people, by the people. That's where I feel, to me, it feels like abundance in all forms can be birthed from. It's not just financial. It's also that feeling of fulfillment, and that feeling of connection, and the feeling of generosity and kindness and gratitude. All those come from us fulfilling that mission, going towards those projects and those
humanitarian
products that really, align with who we are and what we're here to do. So dig it.
All right.
Taurus. There we go. Love it.
Showing up backwards.
No, it's showing up the right way from what I can see. Yeah.
All right. let's go to Taurus. Now, okay, so Taurus, obviously you've had this major transit hitting in your first house. So I'm fascinated by Taurus, maybe more Taurus rising than any of the other sides. Because if you have Taurus moon or Taurus sun, we don't know what house that's in. It could be in any of the houses. So it'll play out more like that house. But a Taurus rising, I mean, that's you, that's your life, that's your body. Hopefully you did not get into any accidents and that you're all okay. But that is the earthquake energy in your life, changing entirely your identity, who you are, becoming liberated. I mean, talk about like the biggest people whose lives will be most impacted by this would be Taurus rising. So this full moon is going to hit in your, where's Capricorn, in your ninth house. So wow, talk about big ahas, big transformations. You see, here's the interesting thing about Taurus rising and this for Taurus is that they would have had some sort of rigid belief about something in this, and that's karmic because they've got Capricorn there. And I know a couple Tauruses who have very rigid, strong beliefs about things, and to the point of being hostile to others that do not hold these beliefs, right? So there's hostility around it, and so there's almost like this sort of karma there of people that you've either judged or pushed away or something, or confronted their belief, and sort of, what's that word, canceling culture, the cancel culture type belief, where now you suddenly have a karmic revelation where you go, you know what, that's not fair. I'm creating karma in my own energy field by having judgment and all that kind of thing. So it's like that just completely blows away for Taurus. They just wake up. They just they almost don't know what to think. Energy, like I don't know what karma's this throwing back in their face if they have any judgment around a belief, and it shows up to be true, and they're like, what? So anyway, and so that's a really big radical change for Taurans. So they're ending a big cycle. I mean, they're going to be, you could call it a massive awakening. I mean, that would be, Uranus is about waking up. So you're going to see a big, huge awakening going on for Taurus, a huge spiritual awakening. And they're going to probably sort of wander more and travel because of full moon there. And it's almost like freeing you up. And also traveling is probably one of the most powerful things for opening your mind, because you see so many things in cultures, different ways of seeing things. You almost cannot have a rigid mind when you travel, because you see that there's so many ways of seeing the world and stories and all. It's just a magical thing. So Taurans are going through massive awakenings and shifting in they're becoming spiritual, in some sort of radical way. Go ahead.
It's so interesting the way you talk about ninth house, the travel and all of that. It's like, and you were talking about that earlier in the live, that's so familiar to you. That's so known in your world. You can speak very much from the heart with that.
Yep, I am a true and true blue traveler here.
So for Taurus, we have the African daisy, and this flower, to me, it's just so cute. There's something about it it has the energy of being playful and silly. And when you look at it, it looks like that. It looks very playful. There's a joyful humility to this flower, and I feel like that's so ties into what you were sharing from an energetic perspective about Taurus right now. And here we go again with more clarity, clarifying purpose and moving us closer to joy and laughter and fun. So there's this incredible opportunity for Taurus to access this new way of being, but not so seriously, like coming into it with a little lighter feeling to it, very lighthearted as well. So,
yes. Because some of the Taurans I know, they really do know, like, that you cannot cross their belief systems. It's like, no, like it's pretty strong.
Very rigid. Yeah. In some ways. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's
Stubborn.
almost like, breaking through to spirituality, opening up to spirituality, it's interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
So, all right. And so I know you were trying to get the board up there for Gemini, which is next.
Gemini. Okay, there we go. Gemini.
All right, nice.
Next. All righty. Gemini coming in here for this count. So you guys have a lot going on. Geminis are very, well, Jupiter in their first house. Mars at this point is 0 degrees in your first house. Talk about big new, brand new initiatives that are liberating you, that are breaking you out of a rut again, and busting through some barrier about you because it's in your first house, kind of again, breaking open to a whole new identity. I mean, I'm going to say you're going to see a Gemini rising. We're going to be like, you know, in a business suit. I know a Gemini who could easily do this. Business suit now dresses like a hippie. I mean, that's how crazy different you're going to see, you know. And Aquarius is the energy of like Russell Brand, Joe Rogan, these people that are very eccentric individuals. They dress their own way. So you're going to see Geminis really kind of becoming more, I mean, I'm trying to think of a word for it, but the Aquarian is the oddball. Aquarius is the being more expressive, more individual. So you know, they're going to break through some kind of individual thing, and they're going to initiate new beginnings, because when you have Jupiter transiting your first house, you're taking bold new initiatives. You're taking starts that are more humanitarian, that are guru, that are for the planet, that are for the good of the people. But with Mars there, you're going to be so motivated and driven and inspired and energized. So if you're Gemini, so let's look at I got distracted by this thing. I forgot. We're looking at the Capricorn full moon. Where'd it go? So with the Capricorn full moon, what happened to that? Where did my little thing go? Oh, did I accidentally shut it down? There it is. Found it. Disappeared. Okay, so the Capricorn, I've got so many windows open, I got to close them down. I think I'll just close this whole one down. That will stop me from doing that. Okay, good. So this Capricorn full moon is hitting in your 8th house. So wow, and that is the Pluto house. So we are really breaking through a big fear, a karmic pattern in fear of financial security and financial motivation, and not trusting God. I know some Geminis that I've been working with who are one is very wealthy and very stressed about his work, not stressed about money, but stressed about the work. It's a stressful situation because there are risks. Capricorn is the 8th house, so there's fears about risks, that they're afraid to take risks. And so with that 8th house placement, because in astrology it becomes very clear that when we take risks, we're trusting God, and the more you do that, that's where the secret riches are. That's where it is. It's trust the divine that's going to guide you there, because our heads strategizing, because Gemini is very strategizing. So now they've got to sort of trust an unseen force and take more risks, and that fear. So the fear over their 8th house would be a fear of debt, fear of karma around taxes, around your money getting suddenly all lost. And so there's this sort of strategizing always in relation to that. Well, now the strategizing is in relation to something spiritual, to trusting an unseen force. Suddenly there's a belief now that the money's always okay, or that they don't have to pretzel themselves or go into karmic fear-based patterning to secure finances. In fact, you're going to do better if you don't, because if you go to old ways of securing your finances, they're not as stable, actually. So Gemini are just sort of opening up the whole way of taking more risks, taking more debts, taking they might take some sort of radical, because remember, this is a 29-degree thing, so there's radical new, we're in limbo, so you might take some radical unseen choice with your finances, and you invest in something, or you suddenly buy something and you take a risk in a choice and you do it, but it's through faith. And again, you can tell astrologically you're supported for this because it's not karma based. So Gemini's got Mars in their first house. Now they're going to be the ones putting a lot of energy and strategizing, busy. Interesting for a Gemini. Go ahead.
So the chandelier succulent is what popped up for Gemini. And what strikes me so much about this flower when I look at it is it looks kind of fearful, maybe a little sad. There's this like kind of like downward pulling energy. Now, I don't know that that is necessarily a bad thing. It's almost like this letting go of something that might carry some charge or some energy to it. But that letting go of whatever that thing is what's actually going to propel them. It's this flower has an energy of momentum, effortlessness, determination, that's so Capricornian. And the message is you have what it takes. So whatever that is for you to know going into whatever that project is, or that fear around even death, because the eighth house also with that Pluto rulership also connects with death. So there might be this like fear of some part of your life disappearing, which again connects to this like kind of sadness that the flower carries. But just know that you have what it takes. That's really the big point I'd love to drive home with the chandelier succulent for Gemini.
You know, a crisis could appear in some of these transits for some people that forces you to surrender. That's another energy of this full moon, is you get forced to surrender because your old ways just don't work anymore. So you're just like, okay, well, what way works? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It is exactly. And surrender is a great spot to be in, because then you can be maneuvered by the universe. You can be influenced at that point, or the water can come in and steer you. All right.
Nice. All right. Cancer.
Fight the rapid, you know. All right. So let's go to Cancer here. Cancer, we have this in your 7th house of relationship, partnership, marriage, contracted relationships. It can be business partnerships. You have this huge conjunction in your 11th house, liberating you, perhaps ending tribe group situations that are not necessarily aligned, or also meeting new people that really expand your public notoriety. You could become well known through that Uranus-Mars conjunction. But then also with that full moon in your 8th house, pretty much across the board, most Cancers have codependency issues, probably the worst of all the people of all the signs. And there's a dependency or a salvation connected, because even your 8th house is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn rules your 7th house. So you're very much codependent, seeking salvation through relationships, or security based, aligned to the relationship rather than to your higher self. So you're really ending a pattern of seeking salvation through relationships and seeking the pathway in alignment with another person, like choicing all the time in relation to another person. And now making choices that are really for your most aligned divine destiny of yourself. And so karma around relationships ending. Now, again, a crisis can occur that really resolves the issue, that really ends. Like, I am literally ending a 30-year divorce. I mean, I'm divorced, but we still have like tax things to sort out between us, and a couple things, so that could flare up on this full moon, but then you get it cleared up. And now I'll be completely and utterly completely cleared of this relationship. It'll be completely out of my field, as it were. You've resolved karma when you have love and compassion for the other person. This is another person karma. This is karma with people, this transit. And so, you're really restored to a sort of empathy, love, graciousness in all the situations that we have any kind of a crisis. We're supposed to transform into having a loving, compassionate response to. That's when you have really cleared your karma. If there's been a bully in your life, but now you understand, you have compassion for that bully, you've stuck up for yourself, you've managed to stop them from bullying you, that's clearing that karma. But like in that 7th house, the Pluto being right there in your 8th house, you're really learning that God is your true relationship, that your relationship with your higher self, the God in you find God. By this point, most Cancers that have been going through, unless you're younger and you're just starting the journey, most Cancer risings have found God within them and have transformed that whole codependent thing. Now, what happens now is you now are open for divine partnership. You're cleared the way, because now you're aligning with people from your higher mind, your higher divine self. And then, you're being spiritually blessed by Neptune, which is a higher octane of Venus, which is very, very divine soul loves. So, there could be a very powerful relationship coming in as having had cleared your karmic type of codependent type relationships.
So I feel like the gardenia is so appropriate. Just looking.
Did I put
Oh
this?
yeah, maybe you didn't. So
Sorry.
okay, so anyone who's now tuning into Cancer, rewind for a few minutes because we forgot. Okay, so based on what Madelaine just said, and if you have to rewind, you'll catch up here in a moment. Is that it's kind of like this fresh start. And look at this flower. It's this purity. It's to me the epitome of starting anew and starting fresh. And some of the messaging from the gardenia, it relates to shifting your perception. So shifting maybe your perception about yourself within relationships, the relationship itself, a little less of the codependency. Embracing all of the aspects of yourself is beautiful. You don't need this other person to fulfill that for you. You are fully capable of doing that yourself. And it transforms weaknesses into strengths. So maybe those areas that you felt like you had to lean on somebody else, you go, no, I can stand firm in where I am because I can see where that softness maybe is a strength and not a weakness. So I feel like this is so tied to what you were saying. And I love the physical expression of it, of the energy that you were sharing.
And it's sort of like cancers are becoming their full spiritual selves. It's like that's a big spiritual transformation. It's like instead of seeking a relationship, you now are, like you say, that Pluto is about restoring power to you, getting your power back from Cancer, giving their power away to relationships. So now they're like in their full power.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Oh,
Okay.
right. Let me get my picture in here.
So we're ready.
So now what's after Cancer?
Leo.
Leo, and it looks like almost like the North Node with a tail. Hopefully that's clear. Leo.
There we go.
Leo. So Leo have Capricorn over their sixth, I'm pretty sure. Yes. So Leo have Capricorn over their sixth house. And that is a challenging place to have Capricorn because that's like, that's a challenging house. And it's so they're going to have most karma of throwing themselves under the bus, not taking care of themselves physically for work, sort of doing whatever it takes for the work rather than for them. And so they're going to have health karma. Health karma is like ways you haven't treated yourself. You haven't put your health number one. In, like, for instance, stressing over work all the time. The sixth house is stress, disease, sickness, what we do on a day-to-day that determines our health and our wealth. So it's almost like on a day-to-day, Leo can kind of throw themselves under the bus to get something done because they're impassionate, they're fired up about something. So it's like they forget about what they need, their body needs. So they're going to end here a pattern of not respecting themselves, not shall we say, valuing themselves and treating themselves the way they deserve constantly to be treated, to be, shall we say, to not be trying to, because that sixth house is so busy and frantic and frenetic. It's like to change that, to become more still and calm and take it easy and go slower and be more collected in your movement, in your work, so that you're not just kind of, just going out there and working hard and just that, if that makes sense. Anyway, you guys have Venus in your first house, you have Mercury in your first house, you're going to have Taurus in your 10th house. It's Leo could be really, really positive for that, or it could come out as pretty negative, like a career. You could get fired, you could get liberated, you suddenly break free from a situation in your work. You have that Taurus there. So you're kind of breaking out of a restricted job situation that you feel oppressed in. This is a work trine kind of thing. So Leo are learning to be more spiritually aligned in their efforts towards their work. And they may take a big sort of crunch in their career house. In other words, they may quit suddenly, spontaneously, just end that fear. They quit, they have faith in their new path. If they're in a corporate situation, they quit that. Any kind of a restricted situation, they just liberate or they suddenly have clarity about what they want because of that Neptune, spiritual, what their soul truly wants. They jump in, they end that thing and they go for it. So let me think, what else can I say about Leo? They big pulling their power back around. Also, they have Neptune in their seventh house. So, I mean, sorry, Pluto just entering in their seventh house. So they suddenly decide to do partnerships. They're not afraid to start taking a humanitarian direction in life and form partnerships and business partnerships. And perhaps, you know, relationship, marriage partnerships take on a more collaborative role.
It's interesting because, you know, with the sixth house, I find it interesting how you were talking also, you know, sixth house to me, it's like the day-to-day actions that we take that move us towards maybe a 10th house career or legacy path, which is Capricorn. So, you know, when you were sharing about the energy of the sixth house and it being kind of scattered and like flying all over the place, the euphrasia is such a support and complement to that energy because it encourages being decisive. So taking a decisive action based on your intuition. So I love that idea of really being able to come to a place of trusting yourself, and from that place of trust, making decisions and then taking action from that intuitive inner knowing versus being bandied about by the things that you feel like you quote unquote should be doing or that you think are the path, really being decisive and intuitive in the actions that you take. So euphrasia.
Interesting, because that's Leo is represents creative self-expression. So it's almost like Leo have been oppressing themselves because it's Capricorn. This is where we oppress ourselves. Or like, for instance, for me, if you're in codependent relationships, you're oppressing who you are to fit in the relationship, right? Usually. So Leo are oppressing who they are to be in a work environment or to be in work. So that card was very much creative self-expression. No, they're going to let their true self come out and tell the story. They're going to be who they truly are and discover their own creative uniqueness, because Leo is all about what you are that is unique, you know, and discovering your individual unique self-expression.
Well, and I feel like for myself, I mean, I'm Leo's sun, not rising, but there's still this energy for myself of there is a fear and a bit of an oppressive energy around sharing some of the aspects of my life that feel more intimate, but are part of my bigger purpose for being here. And so this feels like a really supportive energy for helping me and others get to a place where they're not scared to take that what was a very scary action that may lead to also, you know, your health. You said something earlier about your health and your wealth, that focus. If you're not healthy, you're not able to really focus on those things that could create wealth in your life, not just financially, but in all ways. The financial part of it is obviously a big part of the story, but still, yeah, I love it. Are we ready to move on to Virgo?
We do a flower?
Yeah, we did the euphrasia.
Okay, that's right. Okay. Waiting for the flower. Okay, Virgo. Okay. Let's get to Virgo. On your Capricorn is usually your fifth house for Virgo, which means that you have a pattern of making friends just for the sake of making friends. Like you're just making friends. Like your Virgo do tend to do that. I know them. They just make lots and lots of friends. But again, you just want to, it's not that they just want to be popular or whatever. It's just that it feels like it's abundant to have friends and they make friends. But again, you're creating karma because you're making friends with people who probably don't necessarily all have your best interest. They might be in it for themselves, but you create karma through these cycling and seeking of friendships and friendship relationships. So now that pattern is dead. You no longer want karmic sort of superficial friendships. that you're just making that makes you feel like, because Virgos are busy, so they keep their lives busy, you know? So it's sort of like ending a karma of making friendships that are just for the sake of friendships. And now you're going to kind of resolve that pattern and you're going to make more soul aligned friendships. I'll put it up here. More soul aligned friends that are, again, it may even feel a little bit scary, like you lose some friends here and now you're in limbo. This is all about being in limbo right now because we don't have the new beginnings yet. So we're very limbo. So you're going to end this old pattern and then you're going to be like, well, I guess I have no more friends anymore. Or you're really lonely now. I don't have friends. But don't worry, the right, true soulmate destined relationship. This could be a relationship coming in. So you have Taurus in your ninth house. So again, radical shift in you could suddenly travel, suddenly take a very spontaneous trip here, or you could get pregnant, again, the fifth house. So ending a karma where you are people pleasing could very well be the case. And now you have a new belief and you may be escaping all these friends and traveling or taking your own path, or you could have been aligning with friends that aren't spiritually aligned with you, and now with that ninth house you wake up spiritually. You don't want don't want to try to fit in the karmic group that are not necessarily awake in the way that you wanting to explore things. Let's see, Gemini, plus you've got Mars in your 10th house. So career stuff is opening up, a lot of motivation and drive. You could change your status, get married too, when these planets go into your 10th house. Jupiter is there. So there's a lot of good stuff happening to your career and your work life with those planets up there, sextiling. Mars is sextiling the sun here. I'm on July 22nd, sorry, because when I do the hours, it goes this way. But Pluto is in your 6th house. So again, health stuff, transformational, healing, maybe a lot of Virgos are usually shamany healers. Not all, but a lot of them are. And with Pluto in your 6th house, you may step into not being afraid of your purpose to be a healer or to be help transform. You're going to transform your health in 15 years or whatever. So you suddenly become much more aligned with very powerful healing journey. And so there's sort of a spiritual awakening around that. So what do you got?
So we have the peony for Virgo. And, the peony has a message of be aware of overworking or overextending yourselves. And I feel like Virgo, they can very easily do that. There is a message of magnetism. So magnetizing the people to you that are kind of vibing in the same place of you, that see and appreciate and are grateful for the beauty of life, not the people that are there who want something from you or are looking to take something from you, but they're people who are, you're magnetizing the people to you that are going to attract abundance in all forms into your life. There's a feeling of contentment and elegance and gracefulness with this card as well. So maybe Virgos are going to be able to access that part of themselves, that goddess, high priestess sort of energy within themselves that they didn't recognize was there because they were so focused on other people or other areas of their life or their work or whatever that might be. That's going to shift potentially for them. And the peony is a great support for that process for Virgos.
I love that card. It's my favorite.
So,
it's pink color.
I know, you match.
Yeah. All right, that's great. So Virgos, basically, they're purifying, because Virgo's purity, that's part of the sign, is purity. So with that Pluto in their 6th house, which is kind of their house, it's sort of like they're purifying here. That's actually what's happening for everybody, really, purifying,
Yeah.
energy.
Libra.
Hopefully I'm holding it up long enough, but I'll put it up here so there it's in the background. Okay, good. So Libra are going to have this in their fourth house. So that's very, very much a theme going on for Libras with Capricorn. They've got the South Node in their first house. So they've got this Taurus energy hitting in their eighth house. So they're probably either ending a lot of relationships. A lot of Libras are really ending relationships. And it takes a while to end a relationship. You don't just do it in one day. It kind of is gradual. You can see it falling apart. You hope it works. You keep trying. Things happen. It looks like it's back and forth, because I know a couple Libras that are going through that, right? So they're definitely becoming more their authentic self, because Libra have a tendency to people please and try to hold connections, because the connections are so important for Libra. So they tend to try to karmically create, because they have the fourth house Capricorn. So they'll sort of, Capricorn can be where we force things. So they can sometimes force family situations, or try to make a situation, try to get, they want relation, they can get in relationships really easy because they're so compatible. So Libras may have been creating karma, getting in families and trying to force a family situation. When I say force, it may not have been like literally forcing it, but in their headspace, just trying to make it work in their head, saying it can work. I'll make a family this way. I can, like, this is like Capricorn over your seventh. I can make this relationship work if I force it, if I work hard enough, I do all the right things, and I put in a lot of good effort, right? So Libra do that over their family house. They're always trying to make a family happen and create security through the family and stabilize. Well, that's all doing it without the soul connection, the spiritual guidance, the spiritual divine family, as it were. So they're letting go that this is really all of affecting their entire life, having the South Node in their first house, really letting go of who they've been. That squares that fourth house, that creates a family that's trying to pretzel who they are to make a relationship work so that they can have a family. They have the North Node in their first house, in their seventh house. So they're releasing a pattern of getting in the wrong relationship to create the wrong family, so that they feel like they've got it, like they don't have the patience, so they don't want to wait for the divine family or the divine relationship, because they want connection all the time. So they've always got to be in a relationship. So that's how you create karma, because you're making choices for the sake of something else. In other words, it's not the family will evolve and turn into a family when you're aligning in the relationship that's correct, because then the family just starts to birth. That's what the Cancer is also farming. It's like allowing things to grow and birth, and it's water, which means it's spiritual. It's the soul. If you're in the right relationship, the family will evolve naturally and grow. So they're letting go of karma, and then they've got Pluto in their fifth house. So they're clearing fear-based friendships, fear-based alliances, and then they're going to come into more true family, more true, auspicious, abundant. They're going to dig and discover the friends that were real, that actually do bring them abundance, that are soul contracted. We are entering into more soul contracted situations in general, because we're leaving the karmic. So we're coming into soul contract instead. So Taurus is in their eighth house. So they have some sort of liberation. They could have been a financial crisis, a tax crisis, but they're going to be liberated from it magically, possibly from clearing this karma. So then they step into a true relationship, because they have the North Node in their seventh house. So they most likely step into soul contracted relationships and partnerships that are stabilizing, and the new family, a new home that is really long-term and based on what is in alignment for you, the family that is truly aligned for you for the long haul. What do you got?
We've got the Royal Poinciana for Libra. And the main message of this card is ask for what you want. And there will be a clarity that is available to you when you have that clarity, then you're able to be bold and take that action to ask for what you want. And it's also about thinking bigger. So, like you were talking about family, the ideas of family and where you want to be. And, also it's where you're living. So it's like, don't think so small. That doesn't mean you put yourself in debt or anything like that and, go over what you can actually afford. But, maybe allow your imagination to expand a bit, and you never know what may emerge or may show up for you. So, and you can take on challenges with conviction. You can Think big. There will be clarity. Ask for what you want. So that is the Royal Poinciana for Libra.
Yeah, Libra may end, move, suddenly leave out of a situation, suddenly move out of a house, suddenly end a whole living situation, suddenly move. Like, because these 29-degree things, sudden, irrational changes, like boom, jumping in, jump, jump. All right.
Scorpio.
So,
Oh, that's funny. So you're like,
all right. Then I can go back and timestamp because I can see where these spots are. All right, Scorpio. Let's take a look at Scorpio. Scorpio is Pluto, ruled by Pluto and Mars. So you definitely would have felt this Uranus Mars transit. Scorpio, Mars rules you. So there would have been some kind of a liberating transformation occurring for you guys. And that hits your Taurus house, which is blah, blah, blah. Why do I not see Taurus? Why do I have a hard time finding Taurus? There it is in your 7th house. Hello, it's right in your 7th house. What am I? So yeah, so sudden ending of relationships, or the relationship transforms into a more liberated, healthy way. Suddenly liberating yourself from contract agreements, out of alignment, sort of, shall we say, partnerships that were holding you back, that weren't you weren't able to be who you are, or really see. Pluto rules you, and Pluto's in Aquarius, so it's like you're I would say oppressive partnerships, or situations that, because karma for Pluto, for you guys, is in your 3rd house. You're having the full moon in your 3rd house, which is communication, right? Small businesses, writing, your neighbors around you. So they're it's trining. So they're liberating themselves from some sort of partnership agreements that then enables them to move or shift or change their entire environment. This is a relationship kind of a trine thing. So I would say that you're ending karma in manipulating your way in situations. When I say manipulation, it's not as evil as that sounds, but just trying to speak in ways to create a better outcome for you so that you have stability. And so with a full moon there, I would say there's possible sudden communication or sudden sort of knowledge or information, because Pluto's over your 4th too, that makes you move, that you suddenly change a way of existing in relationships all of a sudden. I mean, you may suddenly communicate and the relationship ends, or you suddenly communicate and the relationship has a breakthrough. And you've ended a karmic cycle of communicating in ways to sort of control stability, and now there's a big breakthrough. Now also it's a full moon in your new neighbors, so there's a good chance you move and you have a new set of neighbors. What else can I say about Scorpio? You have the Mars in your 8th house. So I would say that there's sort of a Pluto rules you. So you're suddenly breaking through some sort of a fear to either take debts, to get money, to borrow money, maybe buy a new home. You're breaking through the fear of buying a property. You now buy a property. You've always been trying to sort of find ways to live in ways that you wouldn't, that because you have a non-abundant, so you're sort of living in situations that are not your highest desire, and now you have faith and you take it, and you take the loan and you go in debt and you have faith that you're going to be able to afford to live in something you really, really desire. All right, what do you got?
I feel stress around the word house debt, like it just, oh, yeah.
Well, there you go. You're going to bust through that fear.
Well, and this also feels like, writing, expressing yourself, that feels very connected with where I am in my life.
Yeah.
And so we have the jade succulent for Scorpio, and the jade succulent has the message of go for it. There's a feeling of grounded presence with this flower, and there is an energetic support around clarity around what it is that you want. And I want to go so far as also clarity on what it is that you wish to create. And this also is a really beautiful flower for the expansion of chi energy, life force energy. And I even love the way these flowers look. You know, they've got these this very open expansiveness, but yet the inner part of the flower is somewhat contracted, somewhat pulled in. So it's almost like pulling all of that energy in to really have that presence of self, presence of your focus, and then being able to like almost explode and expand it out from that place. But it's really having that inner solidity is kind of what I'm hearing before you go out into the world and expand. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, that's almost like the Scorpio, because Scorpios are the most honest and they're really good lie detectors. You know, they're really good at seeing the truth and stuff. But they have some sort of weird thing about communicating where they don't feel confident to speak the truth because they don't want to create, because the truth that Scorpios want to talk about is really sometimes pretty intense and emotional, and it's dramatic and drama, and it's like they tend to cause problems when they speak from the truth, because the truth is that they're complicated emotionally. So it's like everybody goes, ah, you know, so it's like, but now the Scorpios learn how to truly communicate from the light within. And that picture is like they're speaking from the light within now. So
Right.
now they've discovered how they can communicate their truth and create betterness from speaking the truth. Interesting.
It is interesting. So the jade succulent.
Yeah, I like it.
For Scorpio.
Right, now we're going to go to Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. There we go, Saggies. That's me. All right. For Sagittarius, this is hitting in your second house of financing, and also in your, well, what else? What else? Let me think. So Taurus is over your sixth house. So interesting. That these are money work houses. So this is the trine. I would say that Saggies are overcoming a pattern of fear. I would say of fear-based economic concerns, or money, or karma around spending money, or also earning money and jobs. So it's like my son is double Sag. He refuses to get a job. Refuses, because he's a musician. He says, I will die of starvation before I will give up and go get a bus driving job or something like that. So in a way, he's kind of cleared his karma, because he's saying, no, I am a musician. That is the only thing I'm here for. I will not do anything else. And I'm like, dude, you're going to die of, I'm freaked out about it. But you know what? We're starting to see it. It's starting to happen for him. So in a way, he's kind of cleared that fear-based choice to get off your path because you're afraid that that path isn't going to provide. So it's like, so Saggies are waking up to a karmic cycle where they make comfortable patterns in earning money choices, and they're breaking out of it, and they're trusting and they're trusting the divine protection, as it were. And Saturn is in a Jupiter ruled sign, so it is it is empowering for Sagittarians. And also this full moon is technically in Sagittarius in Vedic, so there's a lot of Jupiterian energy of hope in this time. So I would say that Sagittarians are thrown out of a repeat cycle of fear-based choices around work, and they trust a divine flow, and following that flow and trusting that brings you income or a protection. Saturn always protects us. And so Saturn is guiding everyone right now because it's in that water energy and it's in retrograde. So it's connecting us with a long-term path that is abundant, and it's going to be accessed through, like you were saying, an intuitive spiritual way. Because my son is very motivated by his calling, which is to galvanize people through music, and he really believes in it, and I believe in him as well. So it's like he's holding on to a spiritual mission, as it were. Musicians are it's a very spiritual profession. So a lot of musicians are Sagittarians. You can look it up. They're almost all Saggies, Saggy rising, Elvis is Sagittarius rising, Cap moon, Pisces. No, Pisces moon, Cap. I forget. But anyway, Cap sun. But anyway, so and then you've got this big thing happening in your sixth house with Uranus and Mars, which is like liberating you from a stress and liberating you from a day-to-day way of operating, because you're clearing that karma of fear. You're now releasing a stress-based thing around work and stressing around work and trusting and really stepping into your true thing. And there may be a crisis around money where you get triggered to think, okay, now I got to go get the McDonald's job. I'm just joking, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I got to go back to the way that I was really supported in the past and I had benefits. And then it's like, you try to do that and it's like, it doesn't work. But so keep going on the spiritual path. Even though we're in limbo, we can't really see the next step. Trust, trust, trust. That's for Sagittarius.
Yeah. So for Sagittarius, we have the pink primrose, and the pink primrose is rapid growth, the feeling of making it effortless, creativity, thinking outside the box. And then when you're in that flow state that you were talking about, then you'll know when to take action, because there is an action-oriented energy to this too. But I love the idea of the effortless rapid growth vibe for Sagittarius.
That really rings with this whole energy of the 29th degree and that 0 degree, where we suddenly leap. We take a again, it can come with a crisis, but we take some sort of radical leap and we jump, and like you suddenly jump into a new way of making money because you suddenly don't do what you normally do. And it's just like, it's very like radical.
Okay, so we are moving on now to Capricorn. Boy.
Capricorn in this life, you know, I have a lot of Capricorn planets too. So it's right on my Venus. My Venus is 27 degrees Capricorn. So you guys just had Capricorn through your Pluto, through your whole first house, which boy, did you transform. And I know some Capricorn risings who completely are different people now. So Capricorn, you guys are ending. You guys are cooked. You guys have ended some major, I would say, patterns of dysfunctional, karmic ways of operating, completely control. You know, Capricorns can be extremely controlling. So there's almost like this release of some sort of major controlling way of operating. So talk about surrendering. This is going to be big surrender point for Capricorns. If they have any inclination to operate from a pessimistic point of view, because Capricorns can be quite pessimistic. So if there's any pessimism still there, you're going to get, I would say, abruptive. It's going to abrupt you out. And now you really end. You cannot control it. I'm talking pure surrender. You cannot control something anymore. You give up. You're done. You just, and now you're in limbo. You're like, where's next? Whatever the universe wants, you can have it. I'm done. Whatever, right? So you're going through some kind of I know a Capricorn rising who's going through some major tax lessons. Second house karma, taxes, opposing the 8th house. Pluto represents taxes. So, and it's clearing in a 0 energy. So some sort of big fear about the government taking your money and taxes and all this sort of stuff. It's sort of like, oh, well, okay, I'm dead, take it all kind of energy. And then all of a sudden you find some sort of spiritual salvation in all of this. So grace, which you Capricorns don't believe in. It's almost like they just don't believe that there's grace there for them, that there's somebody there that's going to help them, that is going to be on their team, that there's a divine universal support to them. It's almost like they don't believe in that. So they just work really, really hard and just, I got to do it all, you know. And so suddenly they surrender and they discover this spiritual grace that's there, that carries them and lifts them through, you know, and that all they had to do was believe in that grace. They didn't have to operate in a survival, you know, nutty, crazy, controlling way, as it were. Not that it's Capricorns are nutty, crazy, but they get really like controlling. So, so we have Taurus in your 5th house. So wow. And you know what, Capricorns, it's so funny. I've always said this about Capricorns, that their lesson is here to learn how to be creatives, you know, and they've got this new moon, they've got this Taurus, they've got this Uranian thing happening there. And it's like suddenly they're breaking through because something they did creatively, which they didn't believe in, because they don't believe in anything other than the hard work and the self-slavery is the only thing that gets you abundance. But suddenly some weird out of the blue, spiritually creative thing that they may have sort of played around with, which they want to do, but they don't believe in, suddenly opens up for them and creates abundance. And suddenly they're like, oh my gosh, I guess that was, they're here to learn to let go and be creative and follow the fire and inspired and experience creative self-expression and not just be worker bee, So something opens up creatively for them, really powerful, that could financially liberate them, because this is financial liberation in the other side of this transit, or liberation in whatever form your life needs liberating. So Capricorn are really stepping into their full power. Really good energy for Capricorn, but it may come with a situation where they have to surrender in this crisis, and they meet their biggest fear. We're going to meet our big fears here, but we're going to be okay.
So you were talking about creativity. The bird of paradise to me is one of the most creative looking flowers.
Yeah.
And there's so much potential to me that exists within this flower. The message for the bird of paradise is to quiet your mind, to feel that connection with all that is, the connection with all the possibilities, the connection with other people. It's also a reminder to move from your head into your heart and to operate from that heart forward, heart-centered place versus that thinking, controlling feeling that they have that will offer them that sense of security and safety that they're looking for. But it's usually fleeting or doesn't quite show up as they expect. So that's why moving from the head to the heart and quieting the mind is so important for Capricorns right now.
Yeah. And, with Pluto just dipping right back into your first house, for a couple months, because Pluto's in retrograde. It's going to hit Capricorn. It's going to go back in there. It's kind of like you have another chance here to really face this fear of survival. But you'll be all right. And you will have learned the lesson, because it's stepping in just to make sure that you respond now from a faith place rather than a fear base.
Yes, exactly. Aquarius.
Yes. All right, Aquarius, you guys, oh my gosh, you are all waking up, becoming liberated, becoming new earthers here to take us into the new earth, lead the way. And let's take a look where Capricorn hits in your 12th house. Talk about karma. I mean, having Capricorn over your 12th house is probably the most karmic place to have Capricorn, because you really are literally clearing something deliberately from your past life that caused trauma in your life. So there's some sort of karmic choice you made that caused trauma. So now you're really pulling out of this. Pluto's going to be in your first house for a good while, and you are going to get your power back. Most Aquarians right now that I know have, a lot of them have Pluto on their ascendants, and they had to stick up for themselves in some sort of a court case or some sort of a work thing or something there, but they're really sticking up. They're being tested that they're in their power. And I read for a couple rising Aquarians who have Pluto right on their ascendants. And boy, is it not just every week another thing that they're having to stick up for themselves or having to, but they're doing it. And that's the part of karma that, people don't understand, which is that you have to stick up for yourself and not be a victim. And so that's how you often clear karma. For instance, when I was a young girl, I got attempted kidnapped twice. But for whatever reason, it's not my karma in this life. And I fought back. And so every time I fought back, the perpetrator just dropped in his energy and went away. So it was like, that wasn't my karma in this life. So it was like, if you're not afraid to fight back and say, hey, no, and stick up for yourself, then you don't have karma there. Like to a bully, if you stick up yourself, or do you just retaliate and be a bully back to the bully when the bully has no a way to hurt you? Or do you face the bully and you say, you know what, you cannot do that to me. That's not okay. That's in your power. And then the bully goes away, because the perpetrator only wants to find a victim energy. So if you show a perpetrator you're not a victim, which means you've cleared your karma in that storyline of life, the person goes away because they're looking for someone who will put them on the pedestal of perpetrator. So Aquarians are clearing, depending on what planet you have in your 12th house. I actually happen to know they often do have moons there, or there's Saturn there, which would indicate like they have karma with government. They're really afraid of the government. They have to stick up to themselves with the government trying to take their leases away, or their licenses away if they're practicing in something. And so they have to stick up for this. Every time they do, it just falls apart. They win. It just evaporates the problem. I see it right in front of my eyes. I just can't even believe it. So Aquarians are pulling their power back. They're ready to take us in. They're getting ready to take us into the new earth. They're clearing up all past life karma, freshening up, totally new here on this full moon. It's right on the cusp of their first house, so it's almost on their first house. So it's very, very powerful one. They will suddenly take a leap of faith and suddenly change the situation because they no longer have a karmic debt there. By the way, this is a karmic debt ending, and when that happens, you suddenly end a situation, like it's suddenly gone. Like you suddenly get divorced, you suddenly move, you suddenly that's the 29-degree thing. It's like all of a sudden, and plus that Uranus conjunction was Mars is taking action to suddenly liberate yourself. What do you get?
So we've got the banana yucca. It's kind of hard to see in this light for Aquarius, and so connected to what you said. Hidden power, hidden potential, hidden purpose. So it's like all of these things are going to start to shine. And then the other part of this too is that the banana yucca dissolves insecurity. So all the stuff that's been happening to them where they've maybe felt too insecure to speak up or to stand in their power or to fight back, they're going to be able to access it. Like, and this flower is a great reminder of that. And then from that place, you can reach your goals. You can attain that level of success that you've been looking for. And this too, with the white of the flower, and it feels like a fresh start for purity. Maybe being able to clear or clean up whatever karmic connections that you had in order for that new beginning and the ability to reach those goals.
Yeah, because Aquarius is air energy. And that is very air energy, so it's almost like they step into their more, because Aquarius Capricorn is extreme materialism, can be very materialistic, like attachment to material security, attachment. So it's almost like they're transforming from the Capricorn, because they're ruled by Saturn. So they're releasing a material attachment to security, like really nervous about their material security, to spiritual, like surrendering, and creating sudden, rapid, liberating changes in their lives, and if you're ruled by Uranus, so it could be anywhere in your life, and it's what we call the wild card, because it can suddenly change. Uranus is a change we can't necessarily predict how it's
be. That's why it's so full of surprises. Okay. Pisces.
Did I spell it right?
Yeah. It looks a little, I know what you mean. Yeah, I think it's right. Yeah, Pisces. That's right.
Do this. There, that looks more like Pisces. Okay.
Yes, there you go.
All right, so Pisces. We'll take our time with you, Pisces. Hello, Kim. I hope you're watching.
This is a lengthy Pisces just for you.
So Pisces, magical Pisces. I love Pisces. Saturn is in your first house. Don't get me going on that. That's so big. I mean, that's just like, wow. I mean, talk about like really maturing and becoming serious and growing up and stopping escaping and, really like getting the bull by the horn and going, doing this, and I do know Pisces who are doing that, really are like taking things on and a lot of responsibilities. And so you guys have Capricorn over your 11th house. Yes. So you're clear. I see it in so many Capricorns. I see it, all of them, just straight across the board. It just blows me away. I'm sorry, like Pisces, where they have friends groups and they make friends with people because it's networking, and networking is good to do. Networking, we all say is good. There's nothing wrong with that. But the Pisces are going to have a bit of a salvation-based, desperation-based, controlling-based. Oh my God, what happens when these relationships fall apart? I need to do it the right way. I need to be the right person, or did I do something wrong? Why did I upset all these people? Are they still my friends? They don't want to be my friends anymore. I did something wrong. That's the journey of a Pisces rising. And this friends groups don't like me anymore. And how do I make everybody happy with me and like me? And now they don't want to help me. And now my whole work thing is called completely collapsed. Like my son is Pisces rising, and he's always making friends with people who are looking for musicians. And then he says, like, so I'm networking, and then they don't have his best interest at heart, and they end up using him. And so it's like this whole karma is around tribe, friends group, social media, people you meet, people, all that. So they're trying to control their future that way. Ending that, suddenly waking up, liberating yourself, knowing that you have a spiritually aligned group, tribe, that is spiritually based, that is here for your, that is evolving with you in your true aligned destiny, and that are your real tribe, and that are your right, that do open up your opportunities. Everywhere where there's Capricorn, it isn't that area will never provide what you karmically are trying to make it provide. It does naturally when you let go and let spirit. It does. So it's the surrender. I give up. A group of friends don't like me. I've been kicked out. It's not, whatever. But then, wow, you land on your feet because another friend shows up and says, here's where we would really like you. And, like, let's get you a gig here. We really love you. And these are your true tribe, your true spiritly soul destined, which is through the 11th house for you. It is through, you're not wrong. It's just finding your surrender, and then the ones that bubble up are the right ones. So what else? Sudden endings of groups, friendships aligned, sudden ending, boom, end. And then, but you're in limbo, and then all of a sudden the birthing of a new truer aligned destined tribe showing up. And also your social media platform suddenly ending it. That happened to me. I'm Pisces moon, totally ended a platform. Now I feel very liberated in my new one. It's almost weird. It was this fresh new start, fresh new beginning, where I feel much more coming from the inside and not so much where I think I'm supposed to be. And that's Pisces. They think Pisces are some of the most perceptive people. They're very intuitive, but they can get a little bit locked in their perceptions. And that's me. And so we tell a story of what we think. And so we have to get out of that perception and into just the truth. We have to see the truth. And that's where you go from the inside out from a truth place. And that's where Pisces, it's like their true friends, their true tribe, the true self. So karma basically clearing around unsupportive groups of alliances, and then also your personality and who you are in that arena suddenly becomes a fearless version of you. Hope I did long enough for Pisces. I love Pisces.
Well, Pisces, we've got the Mandevilla for you, which to me looks like a pinwheel, which is really fun. This flower is very much connected to what you were talking about, Madelaine, with the fear of losing people. Mm-hmm. So this is the prospect of losing people or something, someone, something. And it's a reminder to accept what is, to be in full acceptance of who you are. And then it's also a great support for peace and patience in that process, as well as the activator of freedom and creativity. And I just love those four kind of key words that connect with the Mandevilla and what you were saying too. So peace, patience, freedom, and creativity for Pisces with the Mandevilla, which is, I don't know, this just looks very playful, very fun, kind of a counterpoint to Capricorn energy in a way. And, maybe it will allow them to to feel a little more optimistic, not quite so pessimistic about their prospects in life.
No, I like that. And I also see something really pretty happening, how the white is hitting on the outside of the,
Yeah.
you know, picture. And it's almost like Pisces not looking for the security anymore, or not looking for some making something work online or work. And it's almost like just being who they are then is, because Pisces are so spiritually and intuitively connected, and it's oftentimes like earth to so and so, earth to you. You're like way out there, very. But now it's almost like by showing up that way, they're going to sort of reflect light, or the light hits them, you know. So
Yeah.
by from the inside, because I had a sound bowl. I really want to promote sound bowl healing, because I went to I have a friend who's doing sound bowl training, and she needed a guinea pig. So I volunteered. I'm very lucky. And her name is Julie. And if anyone's interested, she's amazing, amazing. So I brought my confusion around my social media, and I have Mars Uranus conjunction in my 11th house, which is why it's all being really turned around like this for me. And so she put me on a therapy thing and talked to me like, who do you want to be on social media? Da, 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 da. How do you want to, because I've talked about this before. So I'm sitting there in my chair and I'm trying to think and I go, I just can't answer that question. So she said, okay, well, fine, let's go do the bowls. So I lay on the bowls. And after I came out of the bowl, I said, as I was doing it, I was like, okay, who am I on the social? How do I step forward? Who would I be? And it was this weird thing that happened where I felt completely in zero identity. Like I remember thinking, what would be my identity? And all of a sudden I felt zero identity, zero in the head. And I suddenly felt this thing from inside me. And I said, I get it. I get who to be now on social media, this part of me. Not what I think, not what is the way that other astrologers are doing it. Because I'm learning from other astrologers, and you notice in artists, and Pisces is very often artistic. A lot of artists, when you look at their history, they did many, many years of doing art of their teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And then they break through, like Turner. He breaks through and he does extremely spiritual stuff. So that's what just felt, and it had a breakthrough for me. And I have Mars Uranus in my 11th house. I had this breakthrough, was no identity, and it just opened it up for me. So I felt it through the sound bowl, and then I've come through that way. Now I know that feeling. So I'm coming from that feeling now, and it just fabulous.
Well, speaking of sound bowl healing, I'm actually going to be speaking at an event next week in Waterford, Virginia. So anybody that lives in DC, Maryland, or Virginia next weekend, it's going to be at Hope Flower Farm. And there is a woman there named Jenny Goff, who's going to be doing sound bath sound. It's not even just bowls. It's a number of other things too, healing. And I have not personally experienced one of her baths yet. I will next weekend, but the tickets are $25 for the whole weekend. It's more of like a community service project of all of us coming together to support people going through tough times. The event is called Defiantly Joyful. If you go to hopeflowerfarm.com, you can get tickets. I'm going to be sharing more on social, but for people that live on the East Coast, we all know, Madelaine, you're more West. This might be a great opportunity to experience it and experience other healers and people. You can meet me in person. It would be really fun to see you. So yeah, it's
Part
really,
of Florida is that? Like, what's the area called, or what area is it in Florida?
Well, it's not going to be in Florida. It's going to be in Virginia.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah. So, and that's like the Northern Virginia area for anyone who is interested, but it looks to be, and the feeling of it is going to be a really beautiful experience for people to come out. And there's going to be therapists and yoga and grief counseling for people who are dealing with grief, as well as I think possibly an acupuncturist. So there's going to be all sorts of healers and people there that can support people no matter where they are on their path. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought up your sound bowl experience, because it sounds like it cracked you open in a way.
it was really powerful. And then I did some readings at a little bit of a retreat this weekend, and we did Mars Uranus sound bowls on all of us. Like it was just so powerful. The sound healing is number one is the number one best medicine, you know. And I really, really, really experienced it because I got a lot of sound healing done in the last week. So
nice.
Yeah, it's very powerful. I recommend it for everybody.
That's really fun. It's really cool that you were able to experience that. So I guess that's it for this
right.
Capricorn blue moon, full moon. And we hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully the little cards or the sign in the background was helpful for people to find their sign so they don't have to navigate through the whole thing. And we'll be back in a couple weeks. Keep your eyes peeled on social. We'll let you know when our next one is for the Leo new moon. It's very exciting. All right.
Do we know what degree that's at? Is it at an early degree? All right. Well, we'll find it.
Yeah, and we'll see you all soon.